So alongside the for loop, we have the while loop, which, as hopefully you remember from the JavaScript section of the course, is just really another way to achieve the same thing, but because of the different way that it's set up, might be more useful in different circumstances. So let's take a look. With the while loop, we'll set up an initial variable outside of the loop, and then we do our loop while something is true. So if we were going to do the same thing that we did before, we would keep going as long as I is less than 10. Then we have our curly brackets to denote what we're going to do as long as I is less than 10. And very importantly, we have to remember to increment I each time. If we don't do that, it'll just go on forever and ever. And then we just put our code that we want to happen here. There we go. Let's have a look. So that does exactly the same thing as we did before. So here's a quick while loop challenge for you. Can you use a while loop to display the first 10 items, the first 10 numbers in the 5 times table? Go for it. Okay, did you manage it? So the first item in the 5 times table is 5. And we want to keep going as long as I is less than or equal to the 10th item, which is 50. And instead of adding 1 to I each time, we're going to add I. We're going to set I to I plus 5. There we go. Let's have a look. That should do it. Fantastic. You may have done it another way as well. If we actually, we'll just use undo to go back to what we had before. We could actually use that code, but set the initial I value to 1. We want the first 10 items in the ith times table. But then if we don't display I, instead we calculate, say, a j, which is I multiplied by 5. And then we just display that. And that should give us the exact same thing. There we go. So well done if you solved it that way as well. That's a good solution. All right, second challenge then. Can you create an array, any 4 items you like, but you know what I'm going to choose, and then use a while loop to display each of the values in that array? If you can figure out how to do it. Good luck. Okay, hope you managed that. Let me show you how I would have done it. So let's have our good old family array. It's going to be an array with Rob, all our favorite characters, Kirsten, Tommy, and Ralphie. And then we're going to set up our counter again. We're going to start at 0 because we'll start with the 0th item in the array. And we want to keep going as long as I is less than the number of items in the array. We know how to get that. It's size of, and then the array. And whenever I'm doing a while loop, I always do the I++ before I do anything else. Otherwise I forget it. And then I try and run my code and then it crashes or does something horrendous. So then all we need to do is to display each item which we get from family string I. And let's put a line break in as well. There we go. So that's how we use a while loop to loop through an array. You can see though, I think that the for each loop is the simplest way to do that. And that's it. So that's all we need to know about while loops for now. We're now heading toward the 2 big challenges for this section. And for those, we'll need a way of interacting with the user. So you've noticed so far, all of the PHP we've written has not been interactive. The user couldn't do anything to change the output of this. So to make interactive scripts using PHP, we need a way to pass information from the website to the server. And we're going to see 2 different ways to do that in the next 2 videos. The first of which is using get variables.